We're back again. Saturdays are for the boys, as we definitely say all the time. That's the name of this podcast. What is this podcast about? Swimming. We love swimming. Swimming is the best sport in the world, in our humble opinions. And right now, we got essentially a college swimming checkpoint up at this point. We're recording this at the beginning of November, and when you look at the landscape of college swimming right now, the landscape's usually all over the place for the first portion of the beginning of the season, and we're getting to that point where we're getting into the magical, whimsical that we call mid-season swimming. It's not anything truly compared to winter training, but it is the step right before then. And a lot of things can get nasty, and a lot of things are going to change around the realm of college swimming. We welcome you once again. Jazz, how are we feeling today?
Man, we are doing great. There is a lot to cover. I will just say that. There's a lot that's been going on with swimming, both in college, outside of college swimming. Swimming's just been going crazy lately. And it's kind of great because we've never seen this much happening in the sport at this time of the year. So that's what's making it super exciting.
And I think what makes it most exciting is the fact that people are coming out to watch swimming in all shapes and sizes. You look at most of the World Cup, and then even college swimming. College swimming, we're gonna talk about the Texas, or I believe one of their first home meets that they've hosted this season, having a record crowd there for a dual meet, which you would think it's insane that a record is now getting broken for one of those meets. And obviously I believe Wisconsin also had one too recently.
A lot of meets. Wisconsin just had a recent one, the Texas one, even smaller meets Howard University versus what was it, their rival Bucknell, I think, or something like that. I don't know, I forgot their rival team. There's a bunch of college meets from the biggest sizes to more smaller sizes that are breaking record attendance numbers. Shout out to Kyle for kind of getting this train going too, for helping that out. But dual meets are becoming super hype. It's becoming the thing to go to. And it usually has not been that case for college swimming. And I know there's a question later that will probably tie into this. I don't want to go into it too much, but the involvement of tech suits and suiting up for dual meets and making dual meets as close to a championship meet as possible has kind of helped make the popularity of dual meets rise in the last few months. So, it's been really great to see. It's great for the sport. It's great for the athletes. It's great for the programs. It's great for everyone, honestly. So, exciting time for college swimming.
And I mean, when you can swim, fast swimming whenever during the year, it's obviously going to be great for the sport. It's no, that's an obvious statement that just needs to be said. Any sort of fast swimming is always going to be celebrated. And we have had so much, and I mean so much fast swimming already in 2 months. A lot of the time, the only time that you would really think the not necessarily care, but to watch and be on alert for fast swimming is in the later parts of November, maybe early December, right before they go into a good old semester finals. But
in winter training.
Yeah, in winter training. Yeah, we love winter training.
Best time of the season for swimmers.
Oh, yeah.
We all know that feeling.
Yeah, you look at a swimmer and they'll be yeah, I love winter training.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's an excellent time. Us swimmers, we know how it goes.
Yeah.
But no, this is crazy because we're seeing times and swims this early in the season that we would normally only see leading into conference meets, leading into NCAAs, these types of swims we do not see normally at this time of the year. And that is just what's so exciting, because it's kind of shifting the dynamic of college swimming, and it's also just showing us what's to come at the end of the season. The end of the season is going to be crazy. I already know it's going to be an insane NCAAs.
Yeah.
It's just it's super hype.
It reminds me of something that Eddie Reese he said during one of like the Texas inter squad scrims, the Eddie Reese invite. Like it was like the year
That's
after.
a classic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Eddie Reese is the goat. The goat college.
Yeah, we love
coach.
him. We love him.
But he said something in 2017 along the lines of like, we don't expect these guys. Something along the lines of, oh, this is an Olympic. This is a past Olympic year. Nobody's expecting people to swim fast. Or like they're like that kind of speculation is like always thrown out there for whatever reason. Like that, you can throw that speculation out the window, quite frankly, because like times are slowly just getting dropped rapidly. I say slowly and rapidly in the same sentence. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just see like everything going like a fine, well-oiled machine, and we're not even to the big dance yet. And the big, like, we have two, which we do a college swimming checkpoint. I want to introduce a tradition where we crown a king and queen of the current college swimming landscape. We go for the king, and that is Ilya Karun. Ilya Karun, obviously, we talked about him on like the previous episode when we were talking about getting into the season. He already made headlines going, what, 32-1 and a 75 fly, recorded on, I say home video, it's a phone, but recorded for the entire
It was caught on video.
Yeah, he was caught in 4K doing 32-1, 75 fly, and you cannot deny it, and everybody already lost their minds. There had been no dual meets to be swam yet, and if you look at everything that I heard over here, you see the white light flashing in my face, not for anything particularly, but for notes that I have to reference here. In the last meet that ASU had versus NC State, a prominent NC State, which I thought was probably going to destroy ASU a little bit, Ilya Karun goes a 43.9 500 fly. That is a personal best. That is faster than he was at NCAAs.
Personal best, school record.
School record.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
He went a 138.74 200 fly. That was half a second off of what he went at NCAAs. He went 18.5 on the leadoff relay in their 200 free relay. The dude had an outstanding performance, and he was a huge contributor to basically, I call it an upset win over NC State. And the reason I call it an upset win is because with how much they had lost, that ASU had lost before this season, not to their detriment. It's just one coach decided to go from one team to another. I mean, obviously people are going to want to follow them, but the fact that they are still contending is a huge statement on the behalf of Herbie Bim. And it is a testament that he is doing things right, and that he is a person that college swimmers should want to be associated with. And like the question that we have to ask is like, we thought that I thought originally that the potential was a little bit lower than what they're currently at. What do we think they could potentially go later on? Like what's the limit for this ASU men's team?
I don't think there is a limit. I mean, obviously they knocked out the ballpark this past year at NCAAs, got their first, school title, first NCAA title in school's history. And of course we found out shortly after, or no, it was shortly before, right?
It was a little short. It was short. It was after. It was after.
Yeah, it was after. But we found out shortly within that time frame that Bob Bowman was going to Texas. Does not seem like it is really, and here's the thing, a lot of people thought, oh, this is the downfall of ASU. ASU's done that. ASU's blah, blah, blah. Doesn't seem that way. Herbie Beam is doing such a good job. Herbie Beam is, I would argue, one of the best up-and-coming coaches, maybe not even in the U.S., but in the world. He really knows what he's doing. And you can just see that with how he handles his athletes. And I've talked about this before. I kind of low-key graze Herbie Beam a little bit, but he's just like a mastermind of the sport. Like, he really knows what he's doing. And, like, ASU's in great hands, and we could see that from this win over NC State. NC State's always been a powerhouse in the NCAA. And, seeing this statement, especially early on in the season is a great sign. So I'm really excited. I like totally forgot Ilya just casually dropped an 18-5 split.
Yeah.
So
No, it's like I had to specifically go out and find it because I heard about 18.5 when it happened, but it was one of those where it's like, oh yeah, he swam that individually, but he swam it on a relay, and it's one of those things like you had to go like find specifically like on the relay that I believe they had one. That dual meet was fast. That like pool records were flying at like the NC State pool.
Yeah, that's just like I don't even know what to think, man. Like the end of the season is going to be insane. Like there's a lot of potential for what's to come. Obviously though, I will say like I don't want to like burst anyone's bubble. Ilya's a great athlete, he's a great like swimmer, everything, but he does tend to swim a little faster in season. Ilya's that type of swimmer where he can just get up and go almost at any time. And from the progression of last season, he barely touched his times that he went in season at NCAAs. Doesn't mean he can't drop, but a lot of people I've heard people talk and they're like, oh, Ilya's he's just an in-season swimmer. He's not going to drop much time. But like this is a statement already. This is like this. Regardless, this is a statement. This early on. So, I would honestly say he is the new king right now of NCAA swimming, kind of taking the torch from Leon. But yeah, no, there's a lot to look forward to in terms of ASU, and I've never been worried about them like since learning that Bob Bowman was going to Texas. Never been worried. Like when I heard Herbie Beam was the new head coach, I was like, they're gonna be just fine.
Okay.
There's nothing to worry about. So
I was a little worried on my end because I like looking into their profile and seeing like kind of the gaps that they had in order to be a team to win another national championship, go back to back. Like one of those where I'm looking at it and it jumps right to your face where you have to say like some of these guys have to step up in order to make themselves what they need to be and what they want to be. And I mean, Ilya Karun, he's like the lead charge of the team, like without a doubt. Like he is easily the guy. Like he's essentially like, if you want to make like an NBA comparison, he was Scottie Pippen to after like Jordan left that 1 year. It's like I feel like the easiest comparison I can make, where it's like this dude's insane and he's doing everything he can for his team to put them in a spot that for them to be able to contend. Seeing how things are going, and obviously like you said, they could just drop off. Like he could drop off later in the season. People say, oh, he's an in-season swimmer. Like he's making statements left and right now. And absolutely. Like if he doesn't show any signs of stopping, then like what else does it matter other than, oh, he might just go a little bit slower. Like he's already showing himself as a contender, as somebody who can make himself like available for like these relays. Like I think he was already on a bunch of them previously. Like I wasn't gonna change, but getting himself to be the man of his team, which he already has, and the king of college swimming, as I have crowned him. We go into the queen of college swimming, and quite frankly, she is like already there. She's the reigning queen. I put that in my notes as she is still there. Gretchen Walsh. No surprise.
Whoa, big surprise.
Not a big surprise to a lot of people. Because I guess when you put her in a meter pool, alongside, Kate Douglas and other swimmers who have already found fame in yard swimming, I mean, what else can you say other than, oh, all these world records are gone and people are about to make a lot of money, except Gretchen Walsh, because she's still in college. But she, just casually breaks a Katika Hosu world record, which, that's huge. That is insane, especially with like the stature of who Katinka Hosu was and what she did for IM swimming, and just like what she did for like she's in my opinion, like one of the greatest female swimmers of all time.
Oh, absolutely, certainly in the top 10, like without a doubt.
And just to like stomp over that world record, and I mean, like Reagan was kind of doing the same thing at the World Cup, but Gretchen just did it all in one day at a meet that they were holding versus Florida. The only meters meet that I believe that they have scheduled going on, but I mean the break.
Yeah.
A 50 back record off of relay leadoff, a 100 back American record, I believe a 50 free American record,
I believe
and then
so.
and then to break a 100 IM world record. Which, first off, I remember like 10 years ago when that article kind of came out when they were talking about the 100 IM being at NCAAs. That's a missed opportunity. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, that is a yeah. We will talk about that.
But to just have a world record get shattered at a dual meet, at a collegiate dual meet, where most of the time in a college season, that doesn't happen. Granted, we swim yards, that's why. But
yeah.
Nonetheless, it's impressive, and like she's already doing insane stuff. Like versus North Carolina that previous weekend, she went 20.8, just half a second off her best in that 50 free. Which, if you go on Swim Club,
What's the I'm blanking. What's the American record again?
The American record in the 50 free yards.
Isn't it 20.7?
Well,
or is it
20.3 because Gretchen. That's
Oh,
the NCAA and American.
I forgot you.
Yeah, no,
I forgot you went that.
Do you got to remember the little caution sign that says, "Oh, this might be fraudulent"?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's actually insane.
Fraudulent time. Turns out it wasn't fraudulent. It was a real thing with video evidence to prove it all.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's
crazy.
It's easy to forget that like these swims just happened in March. And we're seeing like new foundations of swimming already, and people again are excited about it. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it's just you gotta keep reminding, like, this is the wheel we're on right now. We're at the beginning of the Olympic cycle, and we're already this excited.
Yeah, this is like I don't know if we've ever experienced like a time like this in swimming. At least in recent history. Like, I feel like, especially at the beginning of an Olympic cycle, there's such a big dry period. There's a solid dry chunk where nobody's really doing anything.
Oh yeah.
And like college swimming, pro swimming, like club, anything. Like, there's nothing really crazy for a solid chunk of the Olympic, like the beginning of the Olympic cycle. And I feel like this time around it's different. There's a lot going on, and it's like it's got me amped to look forward to like the next 4 years of what's to come. Like the possibilities are endless. Like
possibilities are really endless, and the fact
it's crazy.
The fact that we already have like the echelon of like college swimmers who are doing well, like in the summer as like also.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I don't know if you have this on the notes, let me see, but like this just happened recently. This is not regarding pro or college swimming, but it regards a fast swimmer, Luka Milatovic.
Oh yeah,
that 412, 5'3",
and he's an age grouper. Like you say, I say age grouper. He's 15 years old and he's doing that.
Yeah, that's like that's completely not related to like our topic, but like I'm just saying swimming in all aspects right now is going crazy. Like this from all levels. So it's so exciting. Like I feel like I'm seeing a new world record or a new record pop on my feed every single day. I'm not even kidding. Like I go on Instagram and I feel like I see a new record being broken every single day at this point, which is insane. Like I don't think we've ever experienced a time like that in swimming. Especially at this time of the year, so and seeing, it's great.
And seeing also the passion too from like all these teams, like especially knowing that one win at a dual meet, which in prior years hasn't really meant a whole lot, but now seeing like, hey, they're putting like they've always put meaning into it, but the fact now of like they are showing this is what college swimming is, and a meet that I want to talk about in particular. Texas versus Indiana. So happened this previous weekend. One of their first home meets. I believe they had already had a home meet before this, but yeah, Indiana coming in, especially knowing that they had, I call it the free agency, like, like, not the competition, but, like, like, in, like, sports where it's like, hey, they won free agency, they got everything that they needed. Indiana was kind of that team, because they got people like Owen McDonald, who was on ASU, now swimming for Indiana. That's a huge pickup for them. They have had other swimmers that have come there, but he is like easily the biggest pickup for them.
Absolutely.
And he was kind of carrying them in those IM events, like the events that he is good at. And on top of that, Indiana's always going to be good at breaststroke. But here... Breaststroke University, yeah. But here, we see the biggest test probably for Texas and the Bob Bowman regime. Seeing what they needed to do to be able to execute versus a team like this, and what fast swimming can look like. And Hubert Coase and Luke Hobbs did an interview after that meet, and Hubert Coase called it probably the fastest dual meet ever. Like, everybody was going really fast. Like,
I'm gonna have to look at the times.
Oh yeah, I mean, not anything that would breed NCAA record, American record every single event, but I mean, in a dual meet, like, you're going fast enough, and these guys were pushing each other like to the limit, like to the point where it's like their 2 medley relay. Indiana's 2 medley relay got DQ'd for false start, fly to free. That's something like
full sending that.
Yeah, full sending that really. I put on here like specifically because I'm at like distance swimming, obviously. David Johnson, Zalon Sarkany racing in those distance races, like, you love to see that, and like how tight, and how I also just see like people really investing into that, and distance swimming isn't something that people really invest into, so that means a lot to me. The top swims out of this meet were like Erin Gemmel. She had a 2 free win over Anna Pawlowski, both of them Olympians from this past summer. I wrote down Hubert Coase 100 fly. He had a dominant win, but really, like, the 200 IM with him and Owen McDonald. They had 2 massive races in that 200 IM and that 200 back, with Owen McDonald winning that 200 back by 1/100th.
Wow.
Emma Sticklin, she won the 200 fly, and I mean, when you talk about, but she almost broke an SEC record just in that race alone. She went 149.9.
She's gone 149 twice so far this season.
Like,
what the heck?
I do want to talk about, like, more in depthly, like, the 200 strokes, the 200 back, the 200 fly, the 200 breasts. Like, those events have been seeing a lot of traction from many different individual swimmers across the country, and like, we're not even mentioning like another fresh face who recently has come back into the limelight, Luca Orlando, who is a dominant force in the 200 fly. And I say, like, into the limelight, he made the Olympic team this past summer, but hasn't been able...
He's been out of the NCAA scene for a bit.
Yeah, he's been kind of away from the bubble due to injury, like, mostly injury.
Yeah. Yep. And then he wanted to train for the Olympic cycle, so it was like injury into training for the Olympic cycle with Bob Bowman, and then, now he's back at UGA, So happy to have him back. I will have to say, Luca Orlando is probably one of my favorite swimmers. Not gonna lie. Definitely one of my favorite swimmers. I've always been a fan of him since like his age group days. Since I remember seeing him race Aiden at Junior Nats, I was like, Luca's crazy. Like, he swims insane underwaters. He's not necessarily super tall or built, so like, he's just like a freak. And like, a lot of his work's been paying off. Like, he still holds the American record in the 100 back. Made the Olympic team this summer, and like, still puts up some of the fastest times in the country, even like right now. So like, it's just so cool to see him back, and I'm like really excited to see what he does at the end of the season, especially with that 100 back. If he like can pull off another American record.
To note that he is also just casually the American record holder in the 100 back, doing that off of a relay.
Do you remember when we were watching that? Like, that was so unexpected, dude.
Like, nobody saw that coming. I don't even think he saw it coming either. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to swim backstroke for my team, try to get some more points on the board for Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's always been a great backstroker. He's like 45, like mid-high in high school. So he's always had like a great backstroke. He just never really swam it in college until then. And then they were in like the second to last heat or third to last heat at the 2022 NCAA championships. Lane 1, he gets in and he's out in like 20.7, just absolutely insane. And then like he's like way ahead of the field, and we realize it's gonna be a fast race, and he touches the wall. It's a 43 what 3 5 4
Something like that. Yeah, no,
I think it's 43-3.
It's fast. That's all that
Like
matters.
just blows the record out the water, and no one expected that. Like no one. I remember I was like flipping my lid because I was like, there's no way that just happened. Like, so I don't know. I'm excited to see what he can do. He's always a great swimmer.
Oh,
So
yeah. And just to see like the 2 back, 2 fly, 2 breasted, even like 2 IM, just how stacked each of those races are going to be going into, and seeing all the different pieces. Like we already had, like we were talking about Luke Orlando, Elia Karoon, like we already mentioned, and like a bunch of other swimmers, like maybe Aiden Hayes, like people like that can get in and just create a, I say flashy final, but I mean like a race that like not a lot of people are gonna forget.
absolutely.
So it's like,
And I think I'm not gonna lie, like with Leon not swimming college anymore, we're not gonna have like for specific events a clear, oh, this person's gonna win. Come on now, it's Leon.
that makes everything exciting.
Well, exactly. I feel like the saturation in the 200s of stroke now and the 200 IM is looking more like a sprint lineup in terms of how deep like the comp is. Like these events are now like saturated like sprint events. Like sometimes you're not going to be able to tell who's going to win. Like we're not going to have like a clear-cut Leon Marchand win anymore. So I think that makes it really exciting and anticipating to watch for NCAAs.
And it's like, it's 2 different boats of excitement, where obviously you're mentioning like the depth that each final has and the unpredictability of who you think is going to win, versus that one person's going to win, but oh boy, they're going to go really fast, and I'm very ready to watch this and see what they do. Like, we're not going to see a lot of that. We might not see records being dropped for a very long time, but to see all these finals go down, it's
Absolutely.
like, it's 2 different sides of the coin. And at the end of the day, it's like, which one do you want versus which one are you going to get? Not to say that what you might not want is bad, but to see just like the absence of Leon, and again, but that hurts me a lot. Like, you have no idea how much I'm like loved watching that guy. And I mean, we get to watch him just dominate at the international level. Like I was that guy who like 8 months before the Olympics, and I told you this, like I was that guy whenever like people brought up the topic of, oh, it's Olympic year, get excited, and I'm like, I was that guy who you like wanted to avoid constantly, where I'm just like, I'm grabbing you by the head and I'm just like, hey, there's a guy out there. And
there's a man.
There's a man out there, and
there's a man.
There's a man out there, and he's gonna win 4 gold medals, and you don't believe me right now, but I say when we get down there to August, I mean, it's gonna happen. And
you know that TikTok audio? It's like, do you hear that, Sid? There's a man in the woods. Like, that is the Leon Marchand edit. That is the audio for him. Like, it's just like we just all knew what was gonna happen. Like, he was so far ahead of everyone.
But the thing is, like non-swimming fans did not know what was gonna happen.
That's true.
That's what was more important to me, where it's like, the topic of the Olympics drop in this room, and then I go up to something dude, and I'm like, hey brother, there's something you need to know. And it's just like the confidence to know that I knew what was going to happen, and a lot of swim fans probably also figured was going to happen, ending up being what was destined for him to have that Ian Thorpe-like rise to fame. And I say like Ian Thorpe, like that's the only thing you could really compare it to at an Olympic level.
Absolutely.
But boy, am I gonna miss like watching him swim collegiately.
His swims in short course were just not human. Like, the stuff he does, doing underwaters halfway to 15 on a 500, like doing underwaters to the 15 off each wall in a 4 a.m. Like, there are things that Leon did that we probably will not see from another swimmer in short course for quite a while.
Swimming at least 10 meters underwater every 25 for a 500 free. Like, I'm never going to get that out of my head, knowing the fact that, like, I swam the 500 free, and I did not do underwaters very much for that.
Like, and you have Leon over here doing, like, underwaters off each wall for 500, like he's swimming just a 50. Like, it's... Leon's just, I don't know. There's honestly almost not enough words to describe him and his performances, but... Yeah, his racing and short course will be missed. They were a different level, and we will not see anything like that for quite a bit.
But eventually,
Ilya's is good, but like Leon was just built different.
Eventually we will see, and especially like I'm not doubting that like Ilya could do very similar things like at the level that he is swimming at, or like a swimmer like Jordan Crooks,
Josh Lando,
yeah.
Yep.
I'm saying like
I have a good feeling about Josh. I feel like Josh and Ilya are really gonna be fighting for that Caleb Dressel NCAA record.
And then also saying that like Josh Leando just like he got so close to like his dreams coming true like during the summer, and just narrowly missing out. I know.
Yep. I know Josh Lando has much more to come. He has much more to come this NCAA season. So I'm really excited to see what he does. He's a dog. Like, also, his 100 free is going to be dangerous. I feel like Josh Lando has a crack at that 100 free record, too. Like, he was, what was he, 42.2, 42.1? No, what am I saying, 42? 40.1, 40.2, something like that.
Yeah.
Really close.
Yeah, 42 is nothing compared to a 40 in 100 freestyle.
I was thinking 100 fly, 42, but we're talking about 100 free.
Yeah, no, 42.0 and 100 fly.
Yeah, that would be great.
In our lifetimes, man, that's crazy to
imagine
about.
Like a 41.900 fly.
Jesus. What would you have to like go in like your 50 for that? Like
you have to be out like 19 high, and it really
something
depends.
Yeah, something
Dude,
like that.
That back half split has to be ridiculous.
That back half split has to be sub 20, like obviously sub 22, but like what do you have to be, like 21 low?
Like 20.
The math is not mathing
21
for me
low,
right now.
21 low, 21 mid low at least.
Oh my god.
That's an insane back half. Out 19, come back 21 low.
And to do that like from a touch essentially.
That's a feat. That's something we can't even comprehend right now. That's just insane.
Yeah, it's like, I say the math isn't mathing right now, but it's really like, and I've explained it before, like, I'm one of those people who I can't imagine it until it happens. To imagine, like, a 100 free that's faster than 39.8, or to imagine a 100 fly faster than 42, just in general.
But you know what's crazy is, like, I know 100 free faster than 39.9 is possible.
Oh, no, it's possible because Dressel did it. But to see more people go down that route, like, they're getting there slowly but surely. But it's proving to be, like, probably the hardest thing for sprint swimming. And, like, the hardest thing for sprint swimming used to be probably going sub 130 in a 200 free. But now we've seen a handful of people do that.
It's like about 5 of them.
Yeah, I say a handful. I mean, like, you can fit, like, I have 5 fingers. That's like one swim for like every finger.
You put them all in this hand right here, yeah. But still, like, I remember when there was only 1. I remember when there was 0. And now we have like 5. So, you know, things are progressing.
I remember watching that. Happen live in like 2017.
Blake Peroni, right?
Yeah, Blake Peroni.
First ever. That was he was on the relay 800 free relay leadoff.
Yeah.
And completely smashed that. Yeah, that was insane. And then Tommy Haas, a couple days later, got mad and took back that record.
It's like same thing with Leon and then Luke Hobson.
And Luke Hobson, yeah, 128. First 128s. Insane.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Is it 128?
It was
both? They were both,
yeah,
right?
something like 128.9 into 128.8.
28, like 8, yeah. But still, like, now we have 128s. Like, crazy. No one... I did not think we'd have 128s this soon. So...
And you know what I, like, think that we wouldn't still be arguing about right now? Tag suits and swim meets. So, and dual meets specifically. Yeah. So here is the story. For those of you at home who haven't already heard it or have heard it and want to hear us talk about it. Cincinnati versus West Virginia, the University of West Virginia, were supposed to have a dual meet this past weekend. It did not occur. Why did it not occur? It occurred because on Halloween morning, West Virginia announced that the meet was canceled, that Cincinnati had pulled out. And the rumor that's going around, because this specifically, it did not get reported like as official, but it is heavily rumored as the reason why, including like comments that were liked by the account for West Virginia Swim and Dive, that Cincinnati pulled out in the topic of they did not want to use tech suits, while West Virginia did. And you look at this, obviously, it's still a topic. Like, I remember like a few years ago, like a season or 2 seasons ago, that it was still something that like even
big controversy.
Yeah, controversy that like Bob Bowman himself had to really get on.
Yep. Bob Bowman was really the coach, and ASU in general, they were really the group of individuals that got this I guess, what do you call it? I don't know, this trend. It's not really a trend change in the sport.
It's the best way to describe it, though.
Yeah, this trend going is the tech suits in dual meets. It really wasn't a thing before Bob Bowman mentioned it or ASU started their little thing. I'm just gonna say it though. I am very much pro tech suit in season. I will say it. And I'm luckily, like, the school I go to, Calvin, they are also the same the same thinking pattern, methodology about using tech suits in season. I think we've been pretty much suiting up every meet so far. Or there are at least some people. But tech suits are being thrown on almost every dual meet now, and I'm just behind it. Like, why do you, like, here's the thing. When you're grinding day in and day out, why do you need to wait until the very last point of your season, after months of training, to try and put a tech suit on and go a best time? When maybe you're feeling great one day, maybe you're feeling great on a random November Saturday at a meet. Throw a tech suit on, you somehow go best time. You know, like, I personally think you're grinding so hard in this sport, why not just ball out and go fast when you can? It's great. It makes great for viewership. People love to see fast swims more.
Oh, yeah.
It's also great for sport longevity. Like, I remember my senior year of high school, I was starting to get burnt out. I'm so glad Diego let us put tech suits on, because I was throwing tech suits on whenever I could. Same with Coach V at AESC. Throwing on tech suits whenever I could, it really helped me mentally because I was swimming fast all the time. So if you're feeling burnout, the sport, like, swimming's a long, tough sport. It really can help with longevity. It can help you gauge where you're at accurately in the season too, I feel like, because some people don't swim as well without a tech suit as they do with a tech suit. So if you want to really gauge where you are accurately in the season, a tech suit, putting it on in the middle of the season could help. There's just a lot of things, but I think like it's good for the sport, not only for the athletes and you know, the programs, but also just for people watching. It makes it more entertaining.
I agree with that heavily, and I do love like the fact that you're throwing out like there's a lot of factors of this, both physically, mentally, where you are in the season, where you want to be towards the end of the season, and especially mental, because like throwing on it at the end of the season, like, you want to go fast all the time, and sometimes people like, and originally people telling you no, you have to say that for later, which I don't want to necessarily call that a dumb line of thinking, because for the longest time, especially with us growing up as age groupers, like 13, 14 years old, wanting to throw on a tech suit, before they had the laws that they do now, where if you are 12 and under, you cannot wear a tech suit, like, at a meet. But going on now, where you want to go fast, you can wear one. But originally, where we kind of grew up as, you don't want to rely on it. And now I think that's just common knowledge, where people already know, like, it's not like we're training in a $300, $400 tech suit every single day.
Exactly.
But it's one of those where we want to get up and we want to go fast, and now we can do that. I don't want to necessarily call, like, the thinking of medieval of why would you not want to, but I can get, like, the view that Cincinnati could have of, oh yeah, we don't want to feel like we're at a disadvantage. But there are times that you have, like, not have to, but, like, are heavily encouraged to, like, this is when you should be wanting to go fast. Great, it's a dual meet, so I can kind of get it. But at the same time, like, when, if not then? Like, you have to... I feel like that's the message for, like, your team, or for, like, the kind of general senses if you were to need to set one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of where it lays down. It lays down as... you have to be ready to go fast, but at the same time, I guess, like, not, like, just... like, find the opportunity. I'm, like, struggling for words there. Because it's a weird situation. And I say weird, like, it brings up this topic after I feel like the swimming world had really settled it. And once it settled it, we kind of just let it sit. Like, it was like, oh, this is solved. Turns out it might not be nearly as solved as we think.
It definitely isn't. And I know every team, they're not... Obviously, not every team is going to be on board with this. Some people, there are a lot of teams I know out there that are still sticking to traditional swimming methodology, like, thinking. And that's completely fine. People are, like, teams, programs, coaches, athletes, they're all okay. Like, they are fine with having their own line of thinking, their own, like, they are subjected to that completely. But, you know, I obviously stand with the tech suits. Like, both sides make sense. But I feel like if we want to grow the sport, if we want longevity in the sport for athletes and just the sport in general, like viewers, whatever, I think swimming faster more often is the better play.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people... And like, sorry, I have one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
But like, there's so many angles to this topic. Like, there's the economic side. Like, tech suits are expensive. Tech suits do run out. Like, they run down. And
they
if you're
really
wearing them
do
almost,
run out.
Yeah, if you're wearing them every single meet, that completely makes sense. If you don't have the money to just keep buying tech suits to wear them all the time, that makes a lot of sense. But you can take care of them. Like, if you're really good about, like, from personal experience,
dude, you are the literal best of taking care of, like, any sort of swimming. Like people watching, like, you don't understand. Like, he was rinsing out his goggles every single practice.
And my caps and my dome caps after meets, it was tech suit, goggles, and dome caps. And then after practice, every time rinsing my goggles. Which I got that method from Caleb Dressel, actually. He said, like, because the chlorine does mess up the plastic, so you want to rinse it off with fresh water. But no, I was a sucker for taking care of my stuff. And even so, I have about 20 tech suits since, like, age 12 to, like, last year, still with me. Like, I had, like, 5 or 6 of my friends using my tech suits this weekend at their meet. So, like, you can take care of them, but I honestly do, like, it makes sense why people wouldn't want to use them because it's too expensive. Like, you're not everyone's at a Power 5 Division I swim school to where you can just keep getting tech suits for free. So it makes sense, but I am still pro tech suit in season because I personally think it's just great for the sport, and it can be great for athletes and longevity in the sport too. So that's my stance on it. That's probably my 2 cents. So
hey, man, I mean, it is completely justified, and like, swimming is really moving towards, like, that line of thinking, and just, like, the idea of go fast when we want to go fast. Why do we have to wait? And like we said, like, it's proving to be very beneficial and proving to bring in people who have maybe never gone to a dual meet before. We got, like, a ton left over. Like, we've already mentioned, like, we got, like, mid-season meets, invites, whatever, winter training, and then like the final stuff before NCs, like
conferences.
Like, these 2 months have really gone by extremely fast, and we have no idea again where it can go.
We're already in invite season. If you think about
Pretty much,
we are approaching invite season. Teams are going to start tapering soon for invite, or resting, or doing whatever they do to prep for their invites. So, we're gonna, like, the swim train is gonna keep going. It is not stopping anytime soon. Invite season is always a great time for fast swims, so we're just gonna keep seeing it. So, like, people just need to buckle down and get ready because it's not stopping anytime soon.
Buckle down, hit to the grindstone, keep your head down, only up whenever everything's all said and done. We got like a few left, and again, like so much left to see. Things are only going to go up from here, as we hope.
Absolutely.
And I mean,
It's
like,
exciting. It's an exciting
just
time for the
like-
sport.
It's just like what Bob Bowman and Capitani, both the male and female coaches for the respective teams, like the men's team and the women's team, talking about like that win over Indiana, where they said, "Hey, we did everything we need to do to go fast, and we're just gonna get ready." Like they had practice the next day. Like it was like a Friday like morning session and a Saturday morning session. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're training again." Like tomorrow,
On Sunday?
so I think they had a Thursday Friday meet, if I recall. I could be wrong. I believe they had like a whole day meet, like a Friday whole day meet.
Yeah.
I probably should have like recognized like what they did do, because I remember hearing the statement of, "Oh yeah, we're practicing tomorrow. Yeah, it's gonna be something light. The guys are lifting." Like,
Okay,
well, yeah.
so probably just a little shakeout, a little loosen practice.
You would
recovery.
think. Who knows? Who knows? They could just be getting totally destroyed. But
I don't think so. Well, at least I hope
You
not
would
for
hope
the
not.
athlete's sake.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you're an
for
athlete,
the athlete's sake.
where you're just kind of like, just give us some rest, and like, no,
No.
8/1000s now.
Gosh,
We don't
yeah.
live in that age anymore. You can't just give somebody 8/1000s and them do it.
Nope.
We don't live there.
The times have changed. The training methods have changed. Those times are pretty much gone. At least for the most part.
Yeah.
Some teams
Who
do.
said that? Like, what was it? Bob Dylan was like, the times are changing.
The times are changing.
They
Times
are
are changing.
They are changing.
They are a changing.
Yeah,
And that they are.
that they are.
So,
We got a lot more
Yeah,
swimming to cover.
yeah. This is an exciting time for the sport. The sport is growing and doing good. So, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, so anybody who got this far, leave us like, subscribe, comment, and like maybe let us know like, what your favorite part of the season is. But again, we just appreciate the people
And what you're looking forward to. If you're
Yeah.
looking forward to anything.
Yeah, because we got a lot to look forward to. Like,
Absolutely.
especially like when we had Mason on, and when he talked about, oh yeah, that the Auburn Alabama dual meet, and it's just like how fire that would probably be.
Man, when is that? I forgot. We're gonna have to run it back. But
It's later. It's later on.
later. It's like I think it's later in the year actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I mean,
that's a good one. Yeah.
We'll get back to that. We got a ton of dual meets
Absolutely.
coming up. A lot of invites
Absolutely.
coming up. Conference meets on like the far end of the horizon, but
Yep. We're getting into it.
we shall
into
see
it.
you all later. Have a damn good one. Take care. Bye bye.
Adios.